Hello, everyone. How are you today? I hope that you are all doing extremely well. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Let's see, because I actually might have something on that you can't hear me, but I think you can. Let's see. Can you hear me? Sure. All right. Well, if you can't hear me and I'm just talking, then all right. Somebody hopefully will be able to let me know. But I think we're okay. I don't see any issues on here. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and just jump right in and get started. So today we are going to talk about 3 reasons why you need to write a book in 2024. If you are new to this group, just give me a little hello. You can wave to me. If you're watching on the replay, just hashtag team replay, and we're going to get right into this today. If you know, like I said, if you are new to this group, I do free trainings in here, usually on a monthly basis. I am probably going to start doing these once a week. And they are usually not particularly long, but I want to be able to add value to this group. And it's something that I'm trying to incorporate into my schedule to be able to do for you all. Okay, so let's just chat. Let's talk about 3 reasons why you need to write a book in 2024. I almost said 2021. I don't know why in my brain I'm 3 years ago. um, but I highly recommend that you guys write these down, pin it somewhere in front of you. If you have ever had the desire to write a book, these are going to be really great reminders as to why you need to get started and why you should not delay the process of starting. And if you are interested in checking out our recently launched book, in the pinned comment here on Facebook, you can grab a copy of Creating Wealth for the Kingdom. That is our most recently launched book. We have there's 4 authors in total, including myself. So the 3, including myself. And it is an awesome book about just the move of God in this season and what is coming with the great wealth transfer and all those other amazing things. So one of the things in wanting to set up, for the great wealth transfer is also considering that, we are going to be doing, again, new things that are coming to the forefront. And so let's go ahead and talk about this quickly. So 3 reasons why you need to write a book. And number 1 is legacy. So how many of you remember your great, great, great grandparents? And if you can say you do, then you must have some historians in your family, because I don't. I definitely don't remember. I don't even know who my great great grandparents were, let alone I do know my great grandmother on my mother's side, and I've heard about my great grandmother on my father's side. Don't even know anything about who they were married to. I really, after a certain amount of generations, these things definitely get lost. And so, um, guys, hold on. Sorry. Give me one quick second. And okay. So yes. So legacy. Legacy is number 1. Legacy is huge. I'm sorry if you guys hear like all the I don't know if you hear this going on. I have to shut out my Facebook or else I get all the notifications and you guys might hear the dinging, the dinging sound. If you didn't, then ignore it. Number 1 is legacy, right? Like I said, I don't remember my great great grandparents. I don't know if you do. And if you do, let me know. Put down their names. Who are your great great grandparents? If you remember them, let me know their names. But I don't even know their names. And so when we talk about legacy, a book is a really great way to, put all of that knowledge and wisdom in a book, in something that is going to last, something that you will always be able to pass down. So even if, in some dystopian future, we don't have Amazon or these other self-publishing companies anymore, that's okay, because I still have this physical book. Right. As long as I have this in my possession, my wisdom, the wisdom that God has given me, the testimony, the things that have happened in my life, it's still here. So I can take this physical thing and I can give this to my kids and they can give that to their kids, right? So there's something that can be passed down. So even when I'm gone, even if the internet completely implodes and there's no more videos, because who has, I like printed video. Does anyone like printed photos? I love printed photos. But who does that anymore, right? I like to. If you do, if you like printed photos, let me know in the comments. Printed photos. But seriously, we don't have a lot of these things. A lot of things have gone technology based, and so because of that, we're passing down what, thumb drives. We're passing down. I see Facebook remembers things from, oh, they're like 10 years ago. This is what you did, and here's a video, here's a photo. I'm like, I don't even remember doing that. But it's really about legacy. It's really about passing down things so that way, your great great grandchildren will know who you are. They will know what you believe. They will know that you will be able to testify to the things God has done in your life. What have been the breakthroughs? Your words are really being solidified in that book. And so those experiences, the words, the things that, maybe you've even said to your kids or you've taught to your children, but they may forget, right? Just like there's things I've forgotten. There's things probably that you've forgotten that your parents have told you, like, you don't remember me telling you that. But you can't forget when it's here, right? You can't forget when it's something physical in your hand that you're holding. And so legacy is probably one of the number one reasons. And people say, well, I can wait. I can do this later. I can't afford to do it at the moment. And when I say afford, there's a lot of different reasons for that, right? For some, it's financial. For some, it's time. So I'm not only talking about financially, but when people say I can't afford to do something, I say you can't not afford to do it, because at the end of the day, we are not promised tomorrow. Right? We are not promised tomorrow. And for those of you who journal, you like to have you probably have notes or notebooks everywhere. At the end of the day, you want to be able to put that in a solidified place. Here's your story. Here's what you've done. Here's what you've accomplished. Here's what God has taught you, and this can go on for generations to come. There are manuscripts that people are like, wow, this thing was written 500 years ago, and people are excited to get their hands on it, right? Even if the language was different then, trying to understand it and uncover it, it's always going to be passed down. So even when you go, even when you pass, you have something that you're leaving behind that is so impactful. So even in looking and praying through the topics of books that we write, I ask God to partner with me in it. And, there's still more books in me. There's still more parts of my story that I need to tell. But at the end of the day, my goal is to have almost, like I want to fill up, at least one whole section of this library with things that I've written, things that my husband's written. So that way, when we give that to our children, they will not be short of the knowledge and wisdom. Though we may forget, they will not be short of that knowledge and wisdom, and you can do the same. Number 2 is leverage. One of the number one ways to establish expertise, if you want to go on talk shows, you want to do podcasts, you want to do interviews, is to, maybe you want to turn it into a film. You're like, man, my story would be great as a film. Or, you're thinking of doing a workbook. You're thinking of, hey, I can see this in churches. I can see this in women's groups, or I can see this, impacting this area or that area. Maybe that looks like a mentorship. Having a book is a really good leverage point to be able to do that, right? It's going to establish you as an expert. So I know, let's say, I run a, multi-million-dollar company, and I want to have you as a keynote speaker, and you send me a copy of your book, right? You got some reviews, people are being impacted by it. I have the opportunity to read about you, right? And what you teach, what you believe. And so that's part of the process. And I may read your book, pick up your book, and be like, wow, this was so impactful. I need to reach out to this person. I want this person to come speak, right? Because I believe in the words that are in this book. So those things are also important and impactful. So a book is a really great way to leverage, other things that you're going to be doing. And that's one of the things that's unique, I think, about what we do here at Tell Your Story Coaching, and we do from books to business, because we believe that really to impact people, yes, the book is going to impact people, but having a product or service that goes along with it will bring lasting impact. And so we help you to kind of navigate some of that to build your audience, at the end of the day, who is it that God is putting in front of you? Because 3 is lasting impact. So we have legacy, leverage, and lasting impact. Our mission in this earth, right, is to impact people for the kingdom. That is why God placed us here. Okay, that is why you were born. So when it comes to lasting impact, that's connected with purpose. right? So we have been created for impact. We have been created to impact those who are around us. Now, those who are stepping out and they're telling their stories and they're writing books and producing films and doing docuseries and all these things, there's a lot of them that are doing that are not kingdom. And we need stories. We need stories. The world needs your story. Some people that I meet with say, well, I feel super insignificant. Like my story really doesn't matter. My story really isn't, who's going to read this? And you have to understand that we've all been placed here to impact someone. Okay. And we teach this principle, and I'll get into this another time, but it's the principle of the one, that even if one person comes to know who the Lord is through your work, you were successful, right? It says that all of heaven rejoices. But of course, there are strategies and things where your book will get in front of more than one person. But even if it's one, okay, that it was accomplished. So whatever your reason for wanting to write or having that little unction to do it, thinking about the lasting impact. And I often tell people, and they always ask this question about timing. Well, is this the right time? And I say, if you're writing for anyone, you're writing to a version of yourself that needed the words that you have right now. That's who you're writing to. So when I wrote my book, Faith Crushed in the Classroom, I was writing to other college students who were entering college who had faith, but their faith was being challenged and tested in the classroom, and they didn't feel like they had the right answers. So they thought atheism was the way to go, right? Agnostic atheism. That was my testimony. That was my story. And God taught me and brought me out of it. And so some of those difficult questions are in that book. There's answers in that book for the person who struggles. I have what I like to call a TikTok ministry, meaning I get on social media, I get on TikTok, I go in there, I talk, I try to be a voice of light and of truth. And I hear the same thing over and over. And it just reaffirms that my book is needed, right? Your book is needed. Okay. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Your purpose is tied to your story. I'm here to tell some of you that this morning, that maybe we don't realize the impact of our story, but our story is very much tied to our purpose, what you've gone through, where God has brought you out of. Those two things are very much tied together. And of course, there's experience, there's expertise, there's all these other things that come along with it. You might find that even just hobbies or skills that you've picked up over time that you think are not significant, God will use them all. But understanding that one of the keys to walking in our purpose and unlocking our purpose is telling our story. Okay. And so that's going to be it for today. Those were 3 reasons why you need to write a book in 2024. If this message resonated with you, if you feel that stirring and you're like, okay, what do I need to do to get started? You will see that there is a QR code right here. No, sorry, not right here, right here. There's a logo on that side. Right here, there's a QR code. You can either scan that code and set up a time for us to chat, or you can go ahead and click the link that I'm about to post. And once you click that link, we can talk specifically about your situation. We can talk specifically about where you are and talk about some strategy about your next steps so you can get started and not delay the process any further. So thank you all so much for watching today. I am going to try to do this on Tuesdays. Hopefully we can try to keep that consistent around the same time. I'm going to aim for about 11:30, just getting a little feel for my schedule, but that is looking like what it will be. So I will see you next week. And